is the levee that holds the water, and as you can see as we dip down here, the road level is rather similar to what is envisioned for Ballona Wetlands, to have a levee all around the area that they plan on digging out. And as you can see, we can no longer see Ballona, or what would be Ballona, off to the left any more than you can see the reservoir that is there in this location. And the area is filled with grasses and not bushes or trees, in order that the area can be scrutinized for any potential animals or rodents that might be burrowing into it, which might cause it to fail. So the federal laws disallow for bushes and trees for those reasons, for easier inspection. Shown, the water will come up likely as it does here all the way to the berm, which they've shown in different diagrams. In, you have this. Different types of berms and how they are constructed, and here you can see, at least on the outside, the rock wall. At Ballona, there are different ideas floating as to what would be within the berm, but likely some sort of structural elements. As you can see, these types of levees are quite massive, and the amount of habitat that it will displace is large. It will not allow for habitat to be on it, because the levees need to be maintained for their integrity, which animal control has to be on alert, if you will, for inspections to make sure that you don't have any rodents burrowing into these areas that may then cause a breach that would then grow through time, and hence why you have all the grasses, so that they can be inspected regularly. And you also don't have any tree roots that may also breach the integrity. So when you're talking about introducing new levees all around Ballona, you're talking about introducing something that will destroy habitat from a standpoint of even having it be land available as habitat. It won't be. This levee happens to be up in Eugene, Oregon.
Hi, this is JohnTommy Rosas. 1923, and actually before, about 1906 to 1909, and then 1920, they had various lawsuits and cases, so this got realigned and different things happened. But on this USGS map, what's important is the federal government determined that the channel should run and stop here, and this is their mark there for fresh water that comes down is let go into the freshwater wetlands that was already existing. It did not go through like it does now into the Marina. See, now it goes, and then the high and low tides come up it. Before, see the difference right here? Right at area A, right here, you can see that creek line. And so the original Ballona Creek was here, then they channeled it, but they still dumped the fresh water here. They did not mix it or inundate this with more salt water like they want to do in alternative 1, 2, and 3. This is about fresh water. This is all fresh water, and then you can also see the saltwater little channels that were here for the estuary. So really the estuary, which is a salt and freshwater mixes in this area, way down here. That's pretty much how they drew it. Right? They only they only had the salt pan here and maybe here. So this shows that it was existing, and that the Army Corps in their graphic, in their map, and their design and everything to dump the water right here was for fresh water. So that's why in my graphic I'm saying 1923 USGS shows freshwater wetlands, estuary, and freshwater source, sorry, misspelled it, from Ballona Creek. This is still really actually a creek, even though it was channelized. It did not go to the ocean like I explained. Here's area A. So they want to rip all this out and then have that be saltwater treated, and it was never like that. And what's important about this video and what I'm explaining is that it shows that this was freshwater before, but it was made purposely freshwater restored again by the freshwater restoration of the channel. So they can't say that they're restoring anything. If they're going to restore it, it should be to this alignment and this source of water, which we can get from Playa Vista's freshwater here. In the EIS, we have to go for the freshwater alternative. The Army Corps made this determination, so they can't get permits to tear in the 408 scheme they made with the county and the 404 with the Fish and Wildlife and the BWER here, to change it into salt water. That's just fraud. This green area is all going to be in salt water because we know the tides go up to 10 feet. On that, it's quite a bit of material, 6 to 9 million cubic yards of material. This is fresh water in here, and it's going to this freshwater area, the wetlands. This is all fresh water here. Centinela Creek's right here. Water went this way, it went this way. You know, it mingled and created, that's the estuary mingled there. But this area A part, you know, it's fresh water. This whole area it had to be predominantly fresh water. I'm going to show you what was not shown by the Santa Monica Bay Restoration Commission, Bay Foundation, the Coastal Conservancy. They used the T-sheets for their agenda, but they didn't show what I'm going to show you. This is the original. You can see the wetlands is here, the Marina. So anyway, this is the map T143-2B. The graphics that they did originally, but also the ones that were added by a research team that made it more accurate. But those were not used if it didn't help the Conservancy and the bulldozing saltwater inundation agenda. A lot of the enviro groups have weighed in for it. Most of them got money. This shows the original map. So you can see where the wetlands is now. It's right here. Went into here, but they butchered it with Playa Vista. This is the Ballona Creek. This is the Centinela Creek. Of course, it didn't end there, but it was part of the wetland, and it didn't just start there. It went way back into here. So some of the additional features they put in weren't accurate. I also don't think this is totally accurate, that it went here and went over. And you'll see on what I'm going to show you why I feel that way. So I'm going to add the colors in of the estuarine habitats and the T-sheet. Okay, so when you look at this, here is the Ballona Creek and another stream, to give you some bearing, and it shows this open water section, and the green is vegetated wetland. So these are graphics that were on the original drawings. They were outlined, but they weren't, so you can see it in here, they weren't colored, so this is the color version, which is easier to understand, and including the labels, so I'm leaving those up. But it shows that this was all vegetated, and the red is basically the saltwater portions of it that you can see here. What I'm doing is showing how the information wasn't used properly or accurately, and it was only used by the Coastal Conservancy and them and Bay Foundation to shore up their agenda. When you look at this, I'm trying to show you the difference of where the salt is. They're claiming it was up in here, which I don't believe, but it could have been. It does show how much green vegetated wetlands there was, which is all this, which was quite a bit. And so even if this was accurate, we know this is pretty accurate, even if this was accurate, it doesn't justify, tearing all this open with a bulldozer to inundate the rest of the wetlands with salt water when it never had that. The grade and the different labeling doesn't back up what they had, because when you look at this, they had this section here. This is open water, it's fresh water. The freshwater sources were there. It just conflicts with what's known. I think this was a possible area that wasn't salt. It was like this one, which is an intertidal flat. And I think this one was too, but I don't think it was intertidal like they're talking about it with the ocean. I think it was a flat with just fresh water that would hold like a pond. You see where this is fresh water. It doesn't add up that this would be tidal, nor does this, because here's the fresh water from the creek. I think the fresh water was actually coming down that way. It was intertidal, but it wasn't tidally influenced. So I think they've got it labeled wrong. But when you look at it that way, it still doesn't justify what they're saying with this being open water, and here having the rest of it be vegetated wetland. It's not supported by the conclusions of saltwater or salt pan. It wasn't like that. So this helps explain that in the agenda and what they didn't show. I'm hoping that when you folks look at this, you'll see what we're looking at and the reasons why it should be left as a freshwater alternative, not bulldozed, not saltwater inundated, and have this be a feature of restoration, like I put in my video. Like I said, some of this could be freshwater wetlands as well as over here. And this part of B could be restored. It's a collection area, so I think we can have a pump station here where this dumps into the Ballona Creek channel, and then have the water cleaned up so it's usable and more natural. Southern California, and then redistribute water research project appropriately in these GIS, and they developed those maps. A lot of the reports that were done for the Ballona Wetlands Ecological Reserve EIS and EIR didn't have these details, and they didn't use the coloring. So that's why I thought it was important to do this. It's JohnTommy Rosas with Hatton. Video on the freshwater alternative that I came up with. The freshwater which is the blue, and the green, which is the plant. The darker green, like this, is trees. Arrangement that would work there with one pipeline. And it shows this is the pipeline. We would have a pump station running through a Driscoll line, probably about a 4-inch diameter line, and it would run all the way through and have sprinklers and rainbird, larger sprinklers, so it pretty much cover all the area, you know, small wetland freshwater plants, larger ones, medium size, and then willow trees and whatever else, coastal oak. This graphic is the trees on Area A, and I made a Google Earth video. Area A as it is now, and then here is that overlay, and you can see it slowly increasing in the blue and green. Go down and make it more visible. So I'm guessing this would be like in the first year, in a couple of years more, it would be, you know, thicker. It would settle in and start pooling. This would be when it would be completely finished. You can see the water coming from the freshwater. The pipeline would go through there and then feed all this, like I explained. And all these palms and all the cleanup from SoCal Gas would have to happen to get their and Sempre to get their oil infrastructure out and cleaned up. I'm just kind of flying around and showing you the kind of how it would look in different places. What kind of looked before and what it looks like, what it looked like after we got the fresh water in there. It's a huge difference. And there'd be trees. You can't really see how the tree heights would be. This is just kind of the footprint of it. But it would be a big increase in habitat and then of course the animals and all that. And that would be the best way to restore the Area A. And it also can include parts of B, because the saltwater part ends here. Hi, this is JohnTommy Rosas with patent combination about the Ballona Wetlands Ecological Reserve, EIS, EIR. And I want to talk about the levees and how they're going to block the view, which is a violation of Coastal Act. So this artist rendering is way off. But they're projecting this false information is what I'm trying to explain. There's only salt water, and this is deceptive because, like I said before in the other video, this will never happen. This whole area will be full of salt water. This is not accurate. But for them to use this and have the artist draw this in a deceptive manner, show their pattern and behavior, just expressing my opinion. You folks can look at the information and decide for yourself. This is on the view blockage of the levees that they don't have any graphics on, so I've made these. And I've put these polygons in to show the basic height. Right where these light poles are, that's about 20 feet. And the levees will be that high or more, as I put here. And that applies to all of it that I'm showing you. But this is just to give you an idea of that normally you would be able to see from the road. This is Jefferson, and this is PCH Lincoln. So that's an issue. And that includes pedestrian, bikes, and cars, the visual blocking of the levees and the heights. They're not going to be right on this close. They're going to be in a little bit. So that's what you will not see, and that's what will occur in the levee, Alt 1 levees, and they're blocking. And that's forever. I mean, that's not going to change. This way is the Fiji Way, so the open space will be locked. This is on Fiji Way, right near the end, 20 feet right here. So you will not see from Fiji Way the wetlands anymore either. And that's one of the nicer views. Jefferson and where it hits Culver, that view will be gone forever. It's just, huge, and it's for tsunami. It's for tsunami protection for flight. This is a violation of the Coastal Act. They can't obstruct views in the coastal zone. So you will not see the wetlands anymore, but it's about 3 miles.
the wetlands and the last bit of nature on this side of town, that we should have a freshwater alternative, which we're working on here.
JohnTommy Rosas with Tatton Media Productions, Ballona Wetlands Ecological Reserve, DEIS, TEEIR, graphics, and the defects in them. I'm going to start with the grading plan. So these lines right here are the levees. These are main levees that go against basically Fiji Way all the way to Lincoln. There's Lincoln right here, PCH. And then that levee will continue from Culver against where the channel is now, basically where the bridge starts. It's going to wrap around and go this way. But they're going to stockpile material here. And they're cutting out the existing channel from here all the way to here. But you will not see the wetlands anymore. These levees are 25 to 30 feet above the road. This is a grading plan for alternative one. The main grading is going to be in area A, which is across here. That's where the channel would be now, and then all that material from Lincoln to Fiji Way all the way around, basically around the south end of the marina. And then they're going to carve out and excavate and apparently remound it. They're going to leave SoCal gas this thing here for some reason, or no saltwater intrusion in this area, and that's what they'll do when they perform this, if we let them have that agenda and that alternative. Me personally, that was Mary Small and some other people at a meeting about almost 9 years ago, that they were planning on selling the dirt to the port, so the port could build larger shipberths in the San Pedro Bay. They use steel, Chugman steel, corrugated, and then they pump out the water and they fill it with dirt and they create a big shipberth. They've done those before. They're basically artificial islands. But I have plans that show their haul routes and how they're going to barge it down the channel and then tugboat it to San Pedro and the port of LA. But because that's the only way they would get that much dirt. The report's calculations are just under 3 million cubic yards. So a cubic yard is a yard cubed. If you picture that much material, they're talking about 3 million of those. And basically, that's a square mile, 10 feet tall of dirt, if you want to do your own math. But it's just to give you amount of material.